Hi, I'm Robbie Lawler.
What's up, Fight Family? This is your favorite MMA coach, Thiago Alves, the Pitbull.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Pedro Munoz.
This is Mike Brown.
Guys, I am Alexei Olenik. And welcome.
And welcome.
And welcome.
And welcome.
And this is We Want One Picks.
And you're watching We Want Picks.
To We Want Picks.
And we want picks.
To We Want Picks.
To We Want Picks. Hi, everybody from American Top Picks.
My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. Jake and I are going to walk through this full fight card. We're going to give you our picks, our bets. We'll talk some fantasy. We'll do all the things right up until this card starts. It is a little after 1:30 Central Time, and we're going to get this going all the way through the 3 o'clock start time. Jacob's looking a little sad, a little mopey. His lock of the week dropped. You going to count that as a win, I'm guessing?
That was going to be one of the last week with Jordan Wright, I was getting like less and less confident as the week went on for whatever reason. Sometimes, I get those feelings about lock of the week. With Carlos, man, I was getting more and more and more. This was going to be one of the all-time lock of the weeks. This was going to be like when Sexy Mexi just beat the shit out of Miles Johns. It was going to be that same situation. Second round TKO, ground and pound, Carlos just raining elbows. We'll see what happens because they're going to keep the fight. It's just in a few weeks. We'll see if he's still the lock. We'll see if we can find something a little bit better than that. But, it is what it is. I'll give you guys a new lock. What happens in this situation is my new lock, if they win, I'm going to count it as a win. If they lose, such short notice, I can't take that as a loss. If I give you a 2-hour notice, if I give you a 2-hour notice on lock of the week and they lose, it's like I can't. But I do have somebody in mind, and we'll see who that is.
Oh, we gotta wait.
You gotta stay tuned. You gotta like the stream. You gotta subscribe. You gotta become a member. You gotta stay tuned.
And guys, don't forget to vote at wewantpicks.com/vote, and let's jump right into this card. And if you want 50 free bucks, we're giving away $50 to anybody who goes to wewantpicks.com/bets. Sign up with one of our 5 betting partners. Make a deposit. We send you 50 bucks. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, however you want it. 50 bucks. wewantpicks.com/bets. And this stream is brought to you by EarnU. EarnU is the world's first sports and esports prediction game, allowing you to earn crypto risk-free. Check them out now at earnu.io. And that's I genuinely love EarnU. And if you've been following my EarnU videos, you'll see that my crypto balance is creeping its way up there with a couple of these solid underdog wins. Jacob's lock is gone. He dropped. He was the last person to weigh in. Looked like filth at weigh-ins.
Whoa!
And now he's dropped from a mysterious
he looked
illness.
awful. He was like a little mopey, but I honestly think, this is allegedly, I'm not accusing anyone, but, Tatsuro finding out that he's facing the lock of the week, sometimes weird things happen where you can poison someone. I'm not saying that he's poisoning Carlos. I'm just saying that all of a sudden Carlos is sick. Weird things happen when you're up against lock of the week. People have dropped out many times before. So I know it wasn't Carlos's fault. That's for damn sure.
Anyway, guy looked like trash at weigh-ins, weighed in dead last, and all of a sudden mysteriously ill. So I think we can know what happened there. So that fight is off. The new opener for UFC Vegas 53 is Gina Mazzani, and she's taking on Shanna Young. And this is a really weird matchup because Gina Mazzani is a good-sized favorite. Expensive as hell on DraftKings. She's 7-5 overall, 2-3 in her last 5. She's alternating wins and losses. Shanna Young, 7-4 overall, 2-3 in her last 5. She's riding a 2-fight skid in the UFC. Gina Mazzani, grappler. Straight up, that's it. She's got like no striking whatsoever. She turns her head. She runs away if you try to strike with her. She wants nothing to do with it, but she can get a bunch of takedowns, a bunch of control time. She took down Priscilla Kuchera 4 times in 2 rounds, but she still managed to get TKO'd because she just can't handle the striking, and it's very unfortunate. I don't know what to do with her in DraftKings. I had her in and out of my lineup 100 times because if she wins, she's going to score a bazillion points. But if she loses, it's because she's going to get TKO'd. Shanna Young, she's also in her second stint in the UFC. She's a solid boxer. She's not afraid to fight inside the pocket. She's got some decent power, and she's stupid, stupid tough. She does not stop coming forward. She does have some BJJ gaps, and frankly, this fight goes one of two ways. Gina Mazzani takes down Shanna Young over and over and over again, or, well, not or, and, because that will happen no matter what. It's a matter of, can she do that for 15 minutes without getting stopped? Or is Shanna Young going to throw some bombs to start the second round, start the third round, and get a stoppage? So I like Gina Mazzani to win this fight, but she can be stopped at any moment. Jackie boy, what are you thinking here?
Yeah, that was like we mentioned in the breakdown Tuesday. She was absolutely dominating that fight. Got her to the ground, was controlling her. And on the breakdown, I said Carlos Beltran, but it's Mike Beltran, the referee that actually stood them up. And immediately after they stood him up, she was like a little bit exhausted from the grappling and just had nothing on her feet at that point. So if she cannot get the takedowns in this fight, it is going to be ugly and very, very fast. But I think she can get the takedown. So she's a favorite for a reason. In that last fight, she was a 200 favorite, and you kind of saw why, because she was dominating on the ground. Shanna Young, I mentioned it Tuesday. I think it's leg lock or bust in the jiu-jitsu for her. When she gets taken down, she kind of scrambles for legs, looks for heel hooks, leg lock, stuff like that. But I think Gina should absolutely dominate this fight. Some people were saying, I saw some people were saying maybe fade Gina for like the OnlyFans play. I guess a lot of the females that have OnlyFans are not winning a whole lot. Kay Hansen, lock of the week loss, and now she's in Invicta. She signed a multi-fight deal in Invicta, so good for her. But yeah, some people are playing that little caveat there, but I think Gina should dominate this fight.
Yeah, I think so too, but she can get stopped at any moment. Sorry, my headphones keep cutting it out, so I got to figure out what to do here. And I was late to the stream. All in all, just a complete disaster today, guys. Just a complete mess. Yeah, so I think Gina Mazzani wins. The bet that I wanted, guys, that actually never popped up. Let's check right now. The bet that I wanted to place was Shanna Young wins inside the distance, decision, no action. That had not dropped as of yesterday. Let me check right now to see if that's out. No, 7
You
markets.
went Shanna Young, decision, no action?
Yeah, plus 200.
That's plus 200.
I'm, guys, on the live stream, I'm locking that in right now. So what that bet is, that's Shanna Young wins inside the distance. So she'll get a stoppage over Gina Mazzani.
I'll ride it with you. I'm going to ride it with you.
And I'll get plus 200. Plus 200. And if Shanna Young loses, Gina Mazzani manages to take her down a million times and hold her down, well, then it's okay because I get a refund. That bet never happened. WeWantPicks.com/bets. We have 5 betting partners. BetOnline is the only partner that offers that bet. That wasn't here yesterday. They must have just dropped it today. So I love that at plus 200 because Gina Mazzani's not a finisher. And even if you look at the last fight, she took down Priscilla Cachoeira 4 times and still got TKO'd. This is a perfect bet. I
love that. Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that. I played it with you as well. I just placed it as well. I put $100,000 on it.
Oh, that was quick. Good for you.
I'm sorry. Ooh, 1 unit. Whoopsie. Yeah. 1 unit. Sorry. Oh my God, I can't believe that slipped.
No,
Did you
I mean,
when somebody was like, somebody asked on my Lock of the Week video, they're like, "What's 2 units for you?" I'm like, 20 million.
No, I did not like that. No. All right. Well, that takes us to Mike Breeden versus Natan Levy. Natan Levy, 6-1 overall, coming off a loss in his UFC debut. He's taking on Mike Breeden, 10-4 overall, 3-2 in his last 5, and he's coming off a KO loss to Alexander Hernandez. And somebody in the comment section last time was like, "Oh, he got knocked out by Alexander Hernandez. Alexander Hernandez has trash hands, this and that." Okay, but Alexander Hernandez has power. How could you argue that Alexander Hernandez doesn't have power in his hands? He does. Whoever was
fast
arguing with
too.
Me
And Alexander Hernandez has called himself the fastest in the division. I don't know if that's true, but he is very fast and very powerful. He's a little rocket.
Yeah, honestly, the problem with some of you people in the comment section and the live chats is you're 100% one side or the other. You're completely unwilling to accept that it's a fist fight. Certain things can happen. Some people are actually good at things. This whole Cheetah Vera Rob Font nonsense is I need Rob Font to win so that all of these Cheeto Vera people can just shut up. You guys are talking like he's the world's greatest fighter. It is so annoying. I have seen very few people to be like, I like Cheeto. He's kind of a dog. Rob looked pretty bad on the scale. Cheeto might be able to pull it off. or, I think Cheeto wins, but Rob's good. It's like Rob sucks, Cheeto smokes. It's unbelievable. Anyway, that's not this fight. This fight had a similar narrative last time, meaning Natan Levy in his UFC debut. The people were going bananas, yelling at me. I picked Rafa Garcia over him. People were yelling at me, Natan Levy's the next big thing. He's amazing. And he went out there and he took a dump. He was awful. He was absolutely awful. But he is a pretty skilled guy. Natan Levy,
he's awful.
No. In that fight, he was awful. He's not an awful fighter.
No, but even in that fight, I think he had some moments. He didn't get finished, and I think he had some takedowns on his own, didn't he?
He got taken down 7 times and was held down.
I know,
for
but I
6
thought that
minutes.
I thought there was a couple times where Rafa was on his back, or Rafa.
Well, anyway, Natan Levy, he's coming off that loss to Rafa Garcia in his UFC debut. He's a very good grappler. He manages.
He got 3 takedowns on his own.
Okay.
And outstruck Rafa, so 56 to 55.
Those are significant strikes, not total strikes, but okay.
This is total strikes. Significant was 47 to 35, so you're misremembering a little bit.
Okay. Well, what I remember is I hit that bet, and Natan Levy did not look good in his UFC debut. He is a very good grappler. He will grapple any opportunity he gets. He will just continuously and constantly try to grapple, try to get it to the ground. If you throw kicks, he's going to catch them. If you clinch with him, he's going to try to work a takedown from there. His problem is he gets a little too aggressive on the ground. He chases submissions, and then he ends up giving up positions, losing opportunities. But he is a very good grappler. He's taking on Mike Breeden. Mike Breeden's coming off a short notice loss in his UFC debut. He's a good striker. He's got solid range control. He's got solid variety. He's got some power in his hands. Not enough to steal a fight later in the rounds, meaning he's not going to lose 2 rounds, steal it with some power in the third. But he's a decent striker, and he's got some solid takedown defense. I do think Natan Levy wins this fight. I do think that last fight was sort of eye-opening for him because he was a massive favorite, expected to dominate, and he did not. So I think Natan Levy wins. I think he comes forward, solid pressure, works in some grappling, and even if he doesn't get a submission, the judge is going to like his pressure. And before I go to you, Joey T. Doro.
Hey, Joey T.
$5 super chat. Okay. Joey says, what's up, everyone? Another good day for some fights. If you guys haven't yet, join the family. What are you waiting for? These guys are the best of the best. Joe, you are one of our best supporters. You have been here since day one. That is always appreciated. And Joe's talking about becoming a member. If you guys enjoy the content, click the join button. It supports us. Very helpful. YouTube loves it. So thank you very much, Joe. Everybody else, vote at WeWantPicks.com/vote. We'll pull up your voting to see what you guys think about these fights. Jacob, you think Natan Levy wins this fight?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to say I appreciate Joey T as well, OG, and he actually kind of ruined my day today. So I appreciate the $4.99. He's the one that let me know that the Carlos fight dropped, which really broke my heart. But I appreciate.
Thank God he let you
know
know because you wouldn't have taken him out of your lineup.
Well, I mean, I would have seen it eventually. It's not like the fights are starting now, but he was the first to let me know, and we appreciate all those updates because he sends those updates all the time. Joey T's the man, the OG. Yeah, this fight, I think that this is going to be one of those situations where the cleaner the fight is, the more it favors Natan Levy because I think he's the more precise striker in the striking. He's the better grappler. But if this starts getting nasty and this starts getting dirty and they start throwing bombs and Natan Levy is baited into those exchanges, those phone booth exchanges, Mike Breeden's got some real power in his hands and he will throw bombs. He will throw those big looping overhand rights. And if he catches Natan Levy, he can knock somebody out just as well as anyone else. So, I think whoever stays the most calm in this fight and is able to keep the distance, if you're not on the Natan Levy side, if you're Mike Breeden, you want to kind of make this nasty. But I'm on the Natan Levy side for sure.
Yeah, it should be an interesting fight. If Natan Levy loses this fight, then he's just a straight up bust, right? I think that's fair to say. I'm always surprised when they take some of these highly touted prospects. Like the guy only had 6 professional fights. And they brought him into the UFC. That's just too early. Because what's going to happen? He's not going to be a champion at 12 professional fights. So I feel like they just rush some of these guys. I know the UFC sees this as a step back. They see it as a winnable fight for Natan Levy. Stylistically, Natan Levy should win this fight. So I'll be rooting for him. I do think he has
Breeden, I mean, he really is no joke. So I think these odds probably are a little bit wide because he's got pretty good takedown defense. And he's one of those thick dudes too. Natan Levy's not just gonna grab his leg and take him down. I mean, there's gonna be some resistance there, and it's whether Natan Levy sticks to the game plan or not, probably.
I told you, Mike Breeden defended 7 of 9 takedowns from Anthony Romero in the Contender Series. So defending 7 takedowns, A, that's exhausting, and B, good for him, right? He just continued to defend, and work it. So he does have solid takedown defense.
Yeah, and he was a plus 450 versus Alexander Hernandez, lost the first round finish, and now he's only a plus 170 versus someone who's supposed to be, that guy. So that kind of tells you where the odds makers feel about this.
Yeah, and we let me look at the voting here. So 83, and votes are still coming in. Thank you guys. 83% of you have Natan Levy winning this fight. Only 17% have Mike Breeden win this fight. I think that's a fair
Were you putting
assessment.
that on the screen? I didn't see it.
I think Natan Levy wins this fight 83% of the time. That's a fair assessment.
Did you put those on the screen? Because I didn't see them.
I
Just
didn't.
reading them?
I'm just reading.
I just want to make sure. That's fine.
I'll put them on the screen when we get more. I was very rushed.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for your approval.
No, you're good. Yeah, I mean, don't let it happen again. I mean, you were late. I had to upload the betting video Friday. This is getting a little loosey goosey.
Honestly, frankly, guys, I'm mid-move. I don't know if you can see behind me. The desk is gone.
Congrats on all your success.
Thank you so much. I'm mid-move, bouncing around. My wife's, look at this couch, look at that couch. Please approve. We need tile. All this crap.
Are you moving to a penthouse? I live in a penthouse. I just didn't know if that's something that you were doing or
that bedroom office of yours definitely screams penthouse.
This is the guest house. I mean, this is the guest house of the penthouse. This is the guest house penthouse. The penthouse guest house.
Yeah. Cool. And you just threw a desk in there and you're like, I'll work from here. Anyway, mid-move, it's everything's hectic.
This is my dog's bed. I mean, look at this thing. That's a dog bed. Are you kidding me?
Okay. Anyway, so frankly, yeah, a little late, but things happen, okay?
Don't apologize. It's okay. Apologize to me. You don't have to apologize to them. You already apologized to me. So
to them. Anyway, and hey, JF goes, can you guys find 3 prize pick power play lock? Buddy, did you not watch my prize pick video? Here,
Buddy,
this is where
did you not watch my prize pick video?
The video can be found there. WeWantPicks.com/prize picks. There's the video. Get yourself $300.
Wow, no links, please. No links, please.
Okay. Next up, we have Gabe Green taking on Johan Lioness. Johan Lioness, he's 5-0 in his last 5. He's
coming lines changed. That's why. Lines changed, what? Pal. Probably because of your videos.
I mean, could be. And yes, lines do change, but listen to the video, take the insight, and maybe it moved really far in the other direction. You're good to go. Gabe Green, 10-3 overall. He's 4-1 in his last 5, and he's come off a solid win over Philip Rowe last year. Lioness, he's a grappler, but he does have legit power in his hands. He can KO with a check hook. He can KO you with an overhand. His striking is not technical, but he really does have a lot of power. Everything comes from the punches or from the hips. Heavy punches, and he just charges forward. But he does mix in takedowns really well. As soon as you get comfortable striking with him, he'll just shoot a clean double leg right up the middle. He hits the ground. He just starts working for control, pounding away. And he just looks like one of those guys where everything he does hurts. I'll never forget when Forrest Griffin beat Rampage Jackson, which that's what we know. When Forrest Griffin beat Rampage, they interviewed him after. He was like, holy shit, everything hurts. Everything. Every punch that guy throws, large or small, hurts. And Johan looks like that's how he is as well. Everything looks like it just hurts. Gabe Green, he's a grappler. He's got solid striking. He's got good pressure. He has a very comfortable striking style where he works in kicks well and he's slick on the ground. Even if he's the one taken down and he's on his back, he's always threatening with submissions, and that sets up his sweeps and his scrambles. He's a tough guy. This should be a fun fight. Both are pretty skilled. Both like to get caught up in brawls. I think Johan has far more power, and he's more dangerous. But I think Gabe's the more dangerous grappler. I think he's not going to hesitate to shoot takedowns. I'm liking Gabe Green here What are you thinking, Jotko?
Yeah, I was kind of back and forth on this one. You took Gabe Green, so I went with Johan just because I was kind of back and forth on this. I agree with everything you said. Johan is the grappler with the big overhand rights, the big power. I kind of see this as the same as like the Natan Levy fight. If Gabe Green wants to win this fight, he needs to stay technical, stay out of the brawls, and he needs to be the one on top, because there was a couple times in that Phil Rowe fight where he was on the bottom and he survives on the bottom. He knows what he's doing on the bottom, but he was never really getting back to his feet. And if you're on the bottom against Johan, his last fight was against a guy who was like known as this like triple threat jiu-jitsu guy, off his back, was throwing up triangles, submit this, and Johan was just kind of moving with him like, what are you trying to do here? So if Johan ends up on top, I don't think Gabe Green from the bottom is going to offer anything in that situation. On the feet, Gabe Green does get hit. He gets in those situations. He gets hit a lot, even as technical with that high guard. And I can see Johan even going through that guard, as powerful as he is. So, I'm going with Johan on this play. And since Carlos dropped the lock of the week, the new lock of the week has got to be Johan, man. I'm going with Johan as my new lock of the week. Again, there's a short notice. If he wins, I'm taking the win. If Johan loses, it doesn't count against me. That's just how it is. I make the rules. It's my lock of the week. But Johan, as the underdog, is going to be the new lock of the week, guys. I already had a money line bet on him, and I have does not go the distance on this fight as well. So I already had my money on Johan, so that's just kind of defaults. Boom, from Carlos to Johan, new lock of the week. We'll see how it plays out. I like his chances either in the grappling or in the striking. If Gabe Green can stay technical, he probably should win, but Johan's a different beast, man.
You guys are loving Johan. Everybody who went to wewantpicks.com/vote, 100% of you voted for Johan to win this fight. So I am in the minority here picking Gabe Green. Everybody else, including you, is picking Johan. Let's catch up on some live chat.
Yeah, the Carlos fight, guys. The Carlos fight. If you're just tuning in, the Carlos fight dropped. Carlos had a sickness. He's not fighting. Lock of the week is done. If it was Tatsuro that pulled out, I was going to take that win. I mean, that's how. If you're the one pulling out against my guy, I'm going to take that win. But yeah, the Carlos fight's off, guys.
DK, would you play Arlovski or Green? Yeah, that's why that's a tricky question, Kenny. I think Andrei Arlovski is more likely to win. He has the easier opponent. He's more likely to win, but he might only score like 50 points because it's just going to be jabbing.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird situation because he's probably most likely to win and less likely to get finished. But at the same time, he might not score as many points as Gabe Green if Gabe Green does well. So that is a really tricky comparison.
No, when I built my lineup, I had Andrei Arlovski in and out. I kept because I'm like positive that dude's gonna win. I have a money line bet on him. I loved him at those odds, but he doesn't score any points because he just jabs, literally jabs for 15 minutes. Mbe, why do you think Jake fat slob middleweight? Like,
whoa,
did you see him on the
me?
Scales? Did you see Jake Collier on the scales?
I think he's actually moving into his heavyweight body. Before he was fat, right? He just kind of got fat. Now he looks, I mean, it sounds stupid, but I don't think he looks as fat anymore. I think he looks thicker. Like he's like a growing man like he's finally grown into his man body. And he said he's going to come out and try to knock out Arlovski. So we'll see what happens.
Okay. Good luck. He's never knocked anybody all of a sudden. And did you not see go to our Twitter at We Want Picks. I retweeted MMA Fighting sent out a picture of Jake Collier's UFC debut versus now. And the side-by-side was like me when I was competing versus now. Like it's embarrassing the weight that guy has gained, and not good weight.
I think
fast food weight.
I think from his last fight to this fight, I think he's putting on muscle mass. I bet that dude can deadlift 800 pounds.
All right. Well, we'll break down that fight when we get to that fight. Okay, we're not at that.
We weren't on that fight. Oh
no. Anyway, 100% of you liked Lioness. Then we've got the rebooked and hopefully not falling apart again, Alexander Romanov taking on Chase Sherman. This is supposed to happen last week. Chase Sherman stepped up on short notice to save the fight, and then he was the reason this fight fell apart. Similar to Carlos Candelario, he had undisclosed illness the night of the fight. So he doesn't cut weight. He's not, I imagine he had diarrhea, something like that, some sort of stomach bug, something weird, because I don't know what else it would be that.
Huh?
you can fight 7 days later, right?
I
What
would
could it
fight with
possibly be?
diarrhea. I'd have no issues with that. I have diarrhea so often, it's just no big deal to me.
Okay. All right. Well, that explains the paleness, the sunken eyes. That explains the general malnourishment. Absolutely. As he wolfs down 2,000 calories of soda. Anyway, Alexander
DP.
Romanov, a beast.
You like
That's such a
DP?
no, I hate it, and it's such a Texas thing, dude.
I wasn't talking
Texans
about the drink.
love Dr. Pepper. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay.
DP action, huh?
Okay. Alexander Romanov, beast of a wrestler, comes charging forward, runs through takedowns, an absolute beast savage of a wrestler. Chase Sherman is a volume striker. He is a heavyweight. He's got decent striking, right? He's not the most technical guy, but his hands are constantly in your face. He's got good pressure, good volume, no real power, though. And the reason these odds are what they are is because Chase Sherman does get taken down, and he has no power. So Alexander Romanov is just going to steamroll Chase Sherman. He'll take him down, do whatever the hell he wants to do to him on the ground. And the problem is Chase Sherman will not be live for a knockout. That's the biggest issue here, because if you guys watched last week, I threw that flyer bet on Mike Jackson because the odds were basically the same as this, except that was striker versus striker, and Mike Jackson does have some techniques. I won the bet, not because Mike Jackson's great, but it doesn't matter,
Dude,
right?
Oh my god, dude! That fight. First of all, you were right because the other dude was completely awful as well, but Mike Jackson was awful.
I said what's his name is just completely overrated. Only has 6 fights. Doesn't belong in the UFC just yet.
Literally,
But
just
they want
cocked
these
back
Irish
a right hand
prospects.
like this and just went every single strike, just throwing overhand rights from back behind him from yesterday, throwing those things from yesterday.
It was a mess. And actually, this is the point I'm trying to make. 3 level 8. How the hell? Tell me how I pronounce your name. What that? Anyway,
It's elevate.
It's 3
Elevate. There we go.
Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is last week I saw a path for Mike Jackson, and there was a path. And granted, the way I hit that bet was not the path that I saw, but there was an actual path, and there was some. There is no path for Chase Sherman. There is no path. He doesn't have one-punch knockout power. He is very tough. I imagine he gets taken down. He gets pummeled. He does have some decent takedown defense, but I think he's just going to get eaten up. Absolutely. So, no real path for Chase Sherman. Do you agree, Jacob, or do you think, hey, plus 900, throw a couple bucks at it? And Mbe, I do think
13. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I do think I'm actually going to place a small. I'm just going to throw a half a unit on the over here because Chase Sherman is tough and he's big. He's like 6'4". He's big and he's tough. Like that guy can take a beating. Over is plus 250. I'm going to throw a half a unit. Oops, my finger almost put way more than that. I'm throwing a half a unit on over 1.5. Only half a unit, and I do have Romanov in my DraftKings lineup. Sorry, Jake.
So yeah, you're good. You said Chase Sherman doesn't have one punch knockout power, and I agree. He's not really a powerful puncher, but when you dive into it, the guy's got 15 wins. 14 of them are by KO, TKO, and 13 of those 14 are in the first round. So with that being said, it'll be interesting to see how Romanov plays this, right? Because he's a big favorite. He should win. He knows that. He knows he's the better fighter. Is he going to try and, let me see if I can use this as like a sparring session a little bit. Let me try and work my hands a little bit, see if I have success. Or is he just going to go to the grappling? Is he just going to dive on the hips, get him to the ground, either TKO him or sub him in the first round, which most people think. But if he knows he can control the ground game, maybe he just tries to touch up Chase a little bit, works that, and if he gets into any sort of trouble, then he goes for the takedowns. But in those exchanges, Chase doesn't have like the Derek Lewis one punch overhand right power, but if he stings you a little bit and he starts laying on volume, anything can happen when these big guys start throwing hands, So if you're Romanov, being the big favorite, you're on the path to get a title. I think you just shoot the takedown, take him down, do what you got to do there. But he might take this as a free sparring round against somebody that he doesn't get a spar against. Try to work his hands a little bit and go to the takedowns when he gets in trouble. But obviously the play is Romanov in here. But, Sherman, if Romanov gets off the game plan a little bit, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and Chase Sherman. So Mbaye, Mbaye's talking about how Collier just smoked him. I keep clicking the wrong comment. How Collier smoked Chase Sherman. I do think, I think Chase Sherman was just shocked. Like nobody expected Jay Collier to go out there and start to grapple. He had never done that before in the UFC. Well, but you get what I'm saying, like, yeah, okay, but nobody expected that. That is not. He had not been in the ground in the UFC. That's not something anybody was expecting. I think Chase Sherman was caught off guard as well. No surprises as to what Alexander Romanov's going to do here. So I think he's more prepared. I think he literally keeps his distance, throws his hands as fast as possible when he's close, and then tries to stay away. So he is tough, bare knuckle boxing champion. He can take an absolute beating. And Romanov, he does have, he fights like Brock Lesnar. He's got big man submissions on top, head and arms, things like that. But he's really just looking to pound you out on top. And I actually think that'll help getting the over. I only threw a half a unit on the over because I'm not very confident in it, but it's plus 250.
And you can still get now Romanov by submission is minus 120. But if you like Romanov by KO or TKO, you can still get that plus 115 for a minus 2,000 favorite. So sign up at wewantpicks.com/bets. Get your free $50. We're feeling good about it. If you want plus money on a 2,000 favorite,
he's minus 2,400. He's minus 2,400 now.
And you can get plus money.
I'm looking at it. Yeah. Yeah, it's a crazy fight. It's a crazy fight. But we'll see what happens. Let me check the voting. See what you people did. There's no way anybody. Where is it?
I voted for Chase Sherman.
Everybody voted for 100% voted for Alexander, no E. I spelled it wrong. Romanov. And that takes us to Daniel Lacerda or Daniel De Silva. Has anybody solved that riddle yet? Why he's Daniel Lacerda and Daniel De Silva? Because Lacerda is not his nickname. It's not like when with Montserrat Ruiz, they call her, Canelo instead of Ruiz.
Maybe he took his wife's name and then, because that's very modern these days, is to take your wife's name and then maybe he got divorced and then he went back to his name, or maybe it's his girlfriend's name. I've been trying to, when I go on OnlyFans and I donate that money, I always offer that I'll change my name to their name all the time. I never get a response back, but my name's up there. Whoever wants my name.
It's very, very big of you. So Daniel De Silva, Daniel Lacerda,
when I was sending,
is taking on Francisco Figuereto. Daniel Lacerda is 11-2 overall. He's 3-2 in his last 5. He's coming off a knockout loss in his UFC debut, and he's fighting the younger brother of champion Davison Figuereto. Francisco Figueredo's 12-4 overall. He's 2-2-1 in his last 5, and he is coming off a loss to Malcolm Gordon. Daniel De Silva, he's a very good striker. He's got solid kicks, good forward pressure. If he gets it to the ground, he's got pretty good control and pressure on top, but his takedowns are not great. So getting it to the ground on his accord is not really a guarantee. Francisco Figuereto, he is the champion's younger brother. They do have similar fighting styles, but what I do think he does better than his older brother is he's more willing to grapple. He's more willing to initiate takedowns. He's more willing to push a grappling pace, where Davison's hands are so good, he doesn't need to grapple, where Francisco's hands are not as good, so he does look to grapple. He averages about 3 takedowns per fight, 75% accuracy, which is pretty high, honestly, especially at this weight class. So I actually like Francisco Figuereto to push the grappling, get the takedowns, and go from there. So I think he wins. I think he uses his grappling to get the win. Frankly, a lot of you hate Francisco Figuereto, but I think you spend so much time focusing on the fact that he's not Davison Figuereto, and you just compare him to his brother. Oh, he sucks. But the reality is he's a pretty good fighter in his own right, and I think he gets it done. What do you think, Jacobou?
Yeah, I'm on the Figgy side as well, because I think he is the better wrestler, the better grappler. He's going to have to survive the first round, right? Because Daniel's going to come with the pressure. He's one of those first round or bust type of guys, maybe second round. And if Francisco is trying to win this fight in the first round, he's going to find some issues. If he's trying to grapple in the first round, he's going to find some issues, because Daniel will throw this front kick out there like a jab. That dude is front kick, boom, 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 boom. And maybe there's opportunities for Francisco to catch that. But if he comes with a head kick while you're trying to catch a leg kick, that becomes an issue. He's a first round of bust guy. I actually just put a unit bet on Daniel in the first round. It's plus 400. A little bit of a flyer, but I think Francisco might give him an opportunity in the first round to get the finish. But if this gets out of the first round, Francisco should then be able to turn up the volume in the takedowns, in the grappling, and really kind of control this fight in the second or third round. But if he's coming out, trying to exchange with this guy and get early takedowns, he could find himself in some trouble because, Daniel is very good in the ground game as well. So if there's a weird scramble, Daniel's on top, things could get interesting. That's why I put the first round bet on Daniel. But Francisco is the better overall fighter in this matchup. Can he get out of the first round? He's yet to be seen. He's my pick because I think he will, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and anybody just hopping in, a couple things. One, Carlos Candelario versus Tatsuya Taira is off. That fight is done. Carlos Candelario, weak, soft,
whoa,
injured, ill. No, but that fight is canceled. I'm just giving Jacob a hard time. But that fight is off. It's canceled. Carlos Candelario had an undisclosed illness, and he'll be fighting next week. Most likely the undisclosed illness.
You know what honestly might have happened?
What happened? Tell me.
It's almost better that fight got canceled because there was going to be so much blood left on that canvas. I bet they would have had to cancel the rest of the fights because it was going to be like a blood-soaked canvas that they weren't going to be able to put on TV. Carlos was just going to be, on top, just boom, 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 boom.
Here's a fun little thing. So you mentioned blood-soaked thing. They don't want to put on TV. They don't want to be worried about it. So a lot of you guys have been watching for a while know that I manage professional fighters. Nick Newell is one of the guys that I managed for a very long time. Nick's the fighter with one arm. They did a movie about him. He's on ESPN all the time. We had some big opportunities at the table that just didn't come through because literally the networks were like, but what if he loses? And this is when Nick was basically undefeated. He was undefeated. His first loss ever was to Justin Gaethje, and that was on NBC. And the big concern, they didn't want to put him in, because of the illegal knee. But
that was a bad illegal knee. There was two of them, but one of them was awful.
They were really concerned. Like, literally, we had to sit with the network executives and convince them it was okay because they're like, listen, we love Nick. He's very talented. He's a huge draw. Anytime Nick fights, like, we set our own record. But what if he loses? Like, what if he loses and he has one arm and he's getting beat and it just doesn't look good? It doesn't seem like a fair fight. And so there was a lot that actually the networks do actually consider things like that. You were joking about blood, and obviously blood is blood. But
I would. It was not a joke. I said that this was going to be a situation where after the fight, or even when the fight ended, that Carlos might end up in prison for the rest of his life for what he was about to do in that fight. All right. That's not even a joke either. Do they sign waivers? What happens if you literally beat somebody to death that Carlos was about to do, and what he will do in a couple weeks? What happens in that situation?
Okay. Make sure you vote for your picks at wewantpicks.com/vote. You guys, 67% of you are on my side with Francisco Figuereto. 33% of you have voted for Daniel Lacerda. So going to be interesting to see how that one goes, but most of us are on the dog side.
Oof.
I literally don't know. We've been doing this too long together, even though it's only been a year. I literally was like, this idiot's going to bark right now. And he barked.
This idiot's going to bark. If my dog was in here, she would have started barking too.
Next up, we have Christoph Jotko taking on Gerald Meerschaert. You guys have also been rabid in the comments, some of you. This isn't like the main event. I honestly, I wish I could smack some of you in real life with the main event, the comments I get. This one, a lot of you were all over Gerald Meerschaert talking about, GM3 is going to dominate this. We'll break it down. Vote for who you think wins at wewantpicks.com/vote. But for now, we've got Christoph Jotko taking on Gerald Meerschaert. Jotko's 23-5 overall. He's 4-1 in his last 5. He's coming off a close win over Misha Serkunov. Gerald Meerschaert, 34-14 overall, 3-2 in his last 5, riding a 3-fight submission streak. This is straight up striker versus grappler. There is no other frame for this. It is striker versus grappler. Gerald Meerschaert does not have very good hands. And honestly, the knock is that his chin sucks. I don't think his chin sucks because I mean, Chimaev smoked him, but that is what it is. That happens to everybody. He took some solid shots in his last few fights and didn't get put out. So I don't think his chin is as bad as everybody says. But I just don't see, he's just not technically sound enough on his feet to hang with the more technical strikers. And Krzysztof Jotko is a technical striker. Gerald Meerschaert has built his career on getting pounded on and then pulling off a submission. He's like Paul Craig, honestly, just getting beat up and then pulling off a Hail Mary submission. He has that 3-fight win streak. All three of those, or is it 2 of the 3 or all 3? I don't have the stats in front of me. He was taken down. His opponents were winning the striking exchanges and then still decided to take him to the ground. And then they were submitted. And, well, that's on you. You're the idiot. I don't see Krzysztof Jotko doing that. He is go through his record. He is so willing to just stick and move. He doesn't care how boring he is. He doesn't care if it's low volume, high volume. He's fast, he's athletic, and he is just going to jab and walk in circles. Jab and walk in circles. Krzysztof Jotko dominates this fight. It's very one-sided grappling match or a striking match. I don't see any grappling success from Gerald Meerschaert. I think Krzysztof Jotko dominates. He doesn't have KO power, so I think he wins by stick and move, essentially.
Sorry, I was reading Robot. Jotko got porn star cardio.
He does. He'll just keep pushing.
He was doing you probably didn't see the face-offs. He did like a cartwheel or a backflip onto the stage after weigh-ins for the face-offs, and was doing like these weird stances. And Gerald was like, "What the hell are you doing?" Yeah, this is what this is. It's a Hail Mary submission win or bust for Gerald. That's all he will ever be at this point in his career. It's kind of too late now to become a boxer or a real wrestler. He never really figured out the wrestling game, so he just got to hope and pray. This is like, he is like the Ryan Hall of the middleweight division. Except Ryan Hall is a fantastic kicker, by the way. Fantastic kicks.
You got out of character there. You broke character for a second and acknowledged that Ryan Hall sucks.
No, Gerald Meerschaert has 34 wins. I wouldn't be surprised. How many wins does Ryan Hall have right now? Like 13? I wouldn't be surprised if in the next 2 years, if Ryan Hall gets to 34 wins in the next 2 years, which, it'll be
what's an interesting bet?
4 division champion, I think.
All right.
He'll be featherweight, lightweight, middleweight, and then probably
your nonsense aside, you know what's an interesting bet, which I may actually do? Gerald Meerschaert wins inside the distance, decision, no action is only -110. Because I don't think he gets stopped, and he definitely doesn't win a decision.
I could see him getting stopped. I don't know. You trust his chin a little bit more. I don't know.
Dude, Jotko has 12 decisions. They're all decisions.
But when you're getting desperate on shots kind of late, anything can happen. I don't disagree. That's probably the bet. I just see it in my mind. I have the under 2.5. Because I think that Gerald either gets clipped. But at this point right now, it honestly does feel like Gerald is going to get that submission win. All it takes is them to go to the ground once, and he's probably going to get a submission win. It just feels like it's headed that way. Jotko is the pick. He's the better fighter in this matchup. Gerald is a Hail Mary or bust submission win. It does feel like it's just headed that way.
I'm doing it. I'm placing that bet, guys. I'm doing Gerald Meerschaert wins inside the distance, decision, no action. Half a unit. Just half a unit, -110, basically even money. I don't think Jotko can stop him. And Gerald will always be live for a submission. So I might as well get a little safety net where if it goes to a decision, I think those are the 2 most likely outcomes. And this bet provides an opportunity for both of those outcomes, right? The most likely outcome if Jotko wins is by decision. The most likely outcome if Gerald Meerschaert wins is by submission. And this bet, if Gerald Meerschaert wins by submission, I get paid. If Gerald Meerschaert loses a decision, I get a refund. The bet never happened. I get my half a unit back. I got to do it.
What's interesting is
hold on. Let me do the plug. That's what keeps the lights on here.
WeWantPicks.com/bets. Go there, sign up for any one of our 57 partners. We'll send you $50. Fill out the application at WeWantPicks.com/bets. We'll get you paid. I thought that was pretty good. Yeah. That sounded just like you.
Yeah, $50. WeWantPicks.com/bet. Honestly, all our content is 100% free because of the affiliate stuff. So click on some things, sign up. We even give you some money as a thank you. That's what keeps the lights on. What were you saying, Jacob?
No, I was going to say, I was looking at your bet. It's -110 for inside the distance. This is no action. right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, and the earlier this week, I placed a under 2.5 at minus 105. Under 2.5 now is minus 145, which is a little bit interesting. So I feel better about my under 2.5.
That is surprising. Those are probably all the Meerschaert people, I assume. Because Christoph Jotko does not have power. And I know Meerschaert, I was going back and forth with somebody, and they were actually pretty respectful, which is uncommon for the comment section, saying, why would you think this would go to a decision? Gerald Meerschaert has 49-something fights. He's only been to a decision a few times, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, but there's 2 fighters in that cage. There's 2 people in this fight. And Jotko always goes to a decision. He's not a power guy. So, all right, well, I placed that bet. Let's keep this train rolling. Let me see who you guys voted for. WeWantPicks.com/vote. And you guys, 83% Jotko, 17% Gerald Meerschaert. Next up, we have Darren the Damage Elkins taking on Tristan Connolly. This, I think, when I was doing my notes, my breakdown, I think this was the hardest pick I had to do. Meaning I went back and forth on this one more so than some of the others. Darren Elkins, 26-10 overall, 2-3 in his last 5. He's coming off a really bad loss to Cub Swanson. He was just absolutely pummeled. Bell to stoppage in that fight. Tristan Connolly, 14-7 overall, 4-1 in his last 5. He's coming off a decision loss to Pat Sabatini about a year ago. Darren Elkins, the guy's stupid tough, constantly coming forward. His nickname is The Damage, but the reality is a lot of that nickname is because of the damage that he takes. He's older. He gets brutalized out there, but he does have a very straightforward game plan. He's going to come in, make it ugly on his feet, work you to the ground, and then make it ugly down there. The guy thrives in that chaos, makes fights ugly. He's very scrappy. And, he does struggle when his opponents can keep things technical, as Cub Swanson did. Tristan Connolly, he was brought in to lose to Michel Pereira on short notice about 3 years ago, and that was at welterweight, so 25 pounds heavier than they are now. You'll see the win on Tapology, on Sherdog. You'll see, wow, Tristan Connolly beat Michel Pereira. The reality is Michel Pereira completely gassed, and Tristan Connolly did what he needed to do to ride out that win. So great win on his record, but he didn't win the fight, right? I would say Michel Pereira gave that fight up. But technique-wise, he's a high-pressure guy. He walks forward. He throws solid punches, and even when he gets hit, he does not stop coming forward. He's pretty tough. He does have power in his hands, and he has his own solid grappling. And this is such a weird spot because I think Tristan Connolly wins. But I think I might be putting too much into how old Darren Elkins is. And these guys are basically the same age. But when I say old, I'm just talking about body, like the miles on Darren Elkins are way older. He's way more worn out than Tristan Connolly. So I'm on the Tristan Connolly side, but Darren Elkins can absolutely come out here, get a million takedowns, and beat Tristan the exact same way that Pat Sabatini did. Frankly, that's very possible for Darren Elkins to do. But I do like Tristan Connolly here. I think Darren Elkins, I think it's a steep drop-off after that last fight. That was a really bad look in that fight, and I think it's a steep drop-off from there. What do you think?
Yeah, there's a lot of lock of the week implications in this fight because you had Tristan Connolly who survived versus Pat Sabatini, who normally finishes people. You had Darren Elkins who lost a striking match to Ryan Hall. We just talked about how fantastic Ryan Hall's striking is, so there's no, it doesn't look bad when you lose a striking match to Ryan Hall. A lot of people lose striking matches to Ryan Hall. He also lost a decision of Volkanovski, the champ of this division. So that's how tough, he is, because Volkanovski is obviously not a finisher, but he's a very, very good fighter. And Derek Elkins, lost a decision to him as well. The Cub Swanson is another guy that will always be my lock of the week. I love Cub Swanson. He was like my number 1 fighter of all time, even before Ryan Hall. But back to this fight, I'm going Derek Elkins' side just because of the toughness. Indiana tough. I think they're probably a little bit even matched. In all things equal, Darren Elkins is a tougher fighter. He's probably got a little bit better wrestling as well. So I got to go with Darren Elkins. I mean, that's how it comes out. Neither one of these guys are obviously fantastic fighters. It'll be a fun fight. This could end up being the fight of the night. But I got to go with toughness. Indiana tough. That's what we do. I've never lost a fight.
It's hard to lose a fight when you've run.
I'm sorry. Anyway. Yeah, I've never lost a fight. Have you lost a fight? Have you lost a wrestling match? I've never lost a wrestling match. I wrestled my ex-girlfriend one time, and it ended in a draw. I did not lose. She was in full mount. I got her off.
Didn't your sister used to like wrestle you?
No, my ex-girlfriend literally was probably like 4'11",
250,
95 pounds.
Yeah.
had me in full mount, but I got out of the position. I think if it goes to a judge's scorecard,
All right,
I
we get
think
it.
that
You
I
had
still- I
a
think it goes to
girlfriend
draw.
at one point. We get it. Okay, hey, everybody. Jacob had a girlfriend. She went to a different school, but I promise you she existed.
You know
Anyway,
what's funny? Literally, there's only one picture that exists of the two of us. So if you were like, "Let me see a picture," I'd be like, "Oh shit, let me go try find one."
anyway, it's the Tristan Connolly pick is not a hill I'm going to die on because I agree with everything you said. Darren Elkins, ridiculously tough, definitely has the better wrestling, but there's only so much damage somebody can take. I think it's like the Diego Sanchez effect, right? Diego Sanchez that's who he was. He was Darren Elkins with better jiu-jitsu, right? Come forward, could take a beating, sloppy hands, but a wrestle. And then what happened, right? He started to lose, and then whoop, that was it. Like, it's a steep drop-off for those guys that rely on that technique. So we're split here, but, frankly, if Darren Elkins smokes him, I'm not going to be shocked. You guys are 50-50 split on the voting. So I'm at wewantpicks.com/vote. You guys are 50-50 split down the middle on the voting. And, yeah, he did survive against Kevin Lee, but come on, buddy.
Come on.
All right, we got a half an hour before this card starts. We got Jared Gordon taking on Grant.
Sorry.
What?
My ex-girlfriend put me in north-south position.
Oh, I thought you were laughing at my stupid voice there.
I never laugh at you.
I made a comment a few weeks ago about there's that Bert. There's like a 12-year-old kid that does breakdowns shirtless, and it's like it feels.
Oh,
gross.
the guy that talks like this.
Yeah, he does like a.
Let's check
straight
out
up-
Tapology here. We got one
Yeah,
guy with a
straight up
7-inch reach.
So I thought you were making fun of me because that's what I just did. Anyway, we have Jared Gordon taking on Grant Dawson. Jared Gordon is 18-4 overall. 4-1 in his last 5, riding a 3-fight win streak. Grant Dawson 17-1 overall, 4-0-1 in his last 5, coming off a draw to Ricky Glenn. Jared Gordon, he's a good wrestler. He's got solid pressure, solid striking. He bounces between featherweight and lightweight. Both of these guys do. But I think he's settled in here. I think they're both settled in at lightweight, and they should be here for the foreseeable future. Jared Gordon is coming off a nice win over Joe Selecki, where a lot of people expected him to just get completely out-grappled. The stats, honestly, he was taken down 4 times, gave up 6 minutes of control time. He did have a majority of his success striking, though, and he does have a solid striking differential of 5-2-3. Grant Dawson, he's bounced between the weight classes as well. He's had issues at 145, so now he's at 155. He had almost 9 minutes of control time in his last fight, a much higher striking percentage. Before that, he won literally with 1 second left, just savage top game, and he showcased his heart more than anything in that fight. Dawson has a great ground game. He's got relentless pressure, good technical striking, but his clear advantage in all of his fights is his wrestling and his grappling. I like Grant Dawson here. The fact that Jared Gordon was taken down 4 times in his last fight, I think Grant Dawson does more of the same, just constant takedowns, dominates. He's in my DraftKings lineup. I think wrestling is the difference here. So I'm on Grant Dawson.
I'm going to say something really bold here. First of all, on my Lock of the Week video, when people actually gave a Lock of the Week, a few people picked Jared Gordon, which was actually kind of very, very, very surprising to me because I see Grant Dawson as, drumroll, the Pat Sabatini of the lightweight division. I think he has that kind of ability to where I don't know if I'm supposed to react to that because
he's the favorite. I thought you were about to say Jared Gordon was going to win because you were like Lock of the Week, this, that, the other thing, and then you did to minus 165.
No, I was saying other people. I said other people picked Jared Gordon. I literally just said I was surprised by that because I see Grant Dawson as that dominant type guy where he can compete for a title. And I wasn't gonna get mad because I thought you were saying oh, he's not even anywhere close to Pat Sabatini, which I kind of agree. I just think that he's the Pat Sabatini of the lightweight division.
I love Pat Sabatini, but his hands are rough, and he's got to clean that up. But go ahead.
I mean, he just doesn't lose. He just finishes everyone. I mean, he's just dominating fights.
You don't
need a Khabib. Khabib didn't really have good hands, and he did fine.
He dropped Conair. But go ahead.
I think Conor bait. I think he faked that.
Go ahead. Grant Dawson's your pick.
But yeah,
You
with
like-
that being said, I think Grant Dawson. I think the path to victory is in the grappling, and I think he has no issues getting this fight to the ground and doing what he needs to do on the ground. Whether he can get the finish or not, is yet to be seen. It's probably going to be a grind out decision win, but I see him. I mean, he's a 17-1 fighter. I mean, the guy's all time. You know what I mean? So I'm going Grant Dawson 100%.
Hey guys, important breaking news. Free streams at Woodward TV. All right, guys, go check it out. Give me your social security number.
Nice,
it's
Rick.
Not a scam. It's not a scam. Thank you
Rick
so
Fallis.
much.
Oh, Fally. Sorry.
You're thinking of phallic things, Jakey boy?
That's from The Office when there's the streaker and then he's talking to Phyllis. He's like, Phallus, why don't you go to do the sketch? He's like, Phallus, why don't you go with Pam? I said, oh, you said phallus. He's like, oh, sorry, penis on the brain.
Yeah, that was the Flasher episode. Anyway, we're both on Grant Dawson here. I do have him in my DraftKings lineup. I also have Alexander Romanov, so there's only a couple expensive people I can have in there because he is so freaking expensive. But I got Romanov. I got Grant Dawson. I always lean wrestlers that I'm pretty sure are going to win in DraftKings. You guys voted at WeWantPicks.com/vote. 83% of you on Grant Dawson, 17% on Jared Gordon. Then we have Andre Feely taking on Joe Anderson Burrito. This is another fight where before I broke it down, right? I do the fight card. Here's my process for the week, and I'm a week ahead, right? I've already got 274. I'm a week ahead.
Oh, wow.
I get the
Nobody
lineup.
works harder, huh? Nobody works harder than this guy, everyone.
Literally nobody.
Yeah, you didn't upload the betting video. Showed up late today. Literally
nobody
on top of
works
things. You're really on top of things. No.
I get the fight list. I throw them into a spreadsheet. I divide them up, and then I move my notes over, do research, do all those things. Jesse renewed his membership. Thank you very much, Jesse. And Jesse, I saw you're in Vegas, so enjoy the fights in Vegas.
There's a message. Can you see the message?
No.
He said, "Join." Support the channel. Keep up the
here
work,
we go.
guys. Making the fight more enjoyable with some cash.
Thank you
money.
very much, Jesse. Another
Straight cash,
true
homie.
OG. True
You
OG.
know who said that? Straight cash, homie.
No, I'm trying to do a breakdown here. I'm trying to be professional.
Randy Moss, baby.
Okay. Anyway, when I first did that, I was getting my spreadsheet in order before I started doing the notes and stuff like that. I had Joe Anderson Burrito winning. I was like,
Wow.
Joe Anderson Burrito's going to win this fight. Then I started to do the research, and the reality is I did flip. I'm on the Andre Feely side. He's 21-8 overall. He's 2-2-1 in his last 5. He has that no contest with Daniel Pineda, but that was because of an eye poke. Joe Anderson Burrito's 12-3 overall, 4-1 in his last 5. He's coming off a loss to Bill Algeo. And the reason I've gone the Andre Feely side is Bill Algeo had 2 takedowns. And then before that, he was taken down 3 times. I just see Joe Anderson Burrito getting taken down. I see Andre Feely using the wrestling. He never quite lived up to the hype. He was never quite the superstar coming out of Team Alpha Male they thought he was going to be. But he has a solid chin. He's got good hands. He's got good wrestling. And his losses are pretty good. He lost to Max Holloway. He lost to Calvin Kattar. He's got some good losses in the mix there. Joe Anderson Burrito is very good grappler. But I think this fight looks exactly like his last fight. And I think Andre Feely beats him the same way Bill Algeo did. But I do not have Andre Feely in my lineup. And I do have Joe Anderson Burrito because I do think he's a live underdog. And just literally that's how my budget worked out. Chase Sherman has no shot. A few of these other guys don't have any shot at that price point. But I like Andre Feely to win this fight, but I'm not confident in those odds. What do you think?
Just so if you guys are just tuning in, the first fight of the night dropped. Some people are commenting about that. The Carlos fight, the lock of the week, that fight dropped. So I don't know if they're going to push back the start time. I don't think so. I looked at the UFC website. I think it still starts here in about 25 minutes or so. But talking about this fight, I'm a big touchy-feely guy. I'm a big touchy-feely guy. I like him. He's a very well-rounded fighter. I agree. He does have offensive wrestling, but we've seen holes in his game in the defensive wrestling. He has decent scrambles, decent takedown defense. But I see the path to victory there for Joe Anderson Burrito is getting to his hips, getting him to the ground. And if Andre Fili is on his back, he's going to lose this fight. I think he's better in the striking. I think he's better. I agree. He's better in the offensive wrestling. If he can get those takedowns, he can kind of wear Joe Anderson out. Because Joe Anderson is one of those guys that will get tired, right? But he doesn't quit when he gets tired. And he's not going to, he's one of those guys that he gets tired and he'll make mental mistakes because he's tired, but he's going to keep pushing forward. He's still going to be there. He's not going to give up in those situations. And that's kind of why I like him in this fight, because I think he's able to use offensive wrestling. And if he gets tired late, what the hell's going on your screen?
I know Tiffany was leaving, so I was waving nice and then just started flipping her off. You can't see because my arm's out here.
Unreal. Well, that's gonna hold up in quite a
Yeah, when we have our own Johnny Depp trial,
my deposition is gonna be interesting for this trial. But yeah, Joe Anderson Burrito, I think has his path there. There's a reason why Andre Fili is almost a 300 favorite now. I think he is the better overall fighter in this matchup. I just think the path to victory with the offensive wrestling for Burrito is going to be there. There's a little bit of a flyer. I'm going with the Burrito side. I don't blame you if you're playing the touchy-feely side.
Burrito.
I say Burrito. I'm saying Burrito.
That's stupid in the Midwest. All right, go ahead. I know, you know what? No, my fat ass heard. I'm on the carne asada side. But yeah, I don't blame you if you're playing touchy-feely for sure. And Breeden was my switch, my 1-for-1 swap for Carlos and DraftKings. So Carlos dropped, I switched it and flipped it into Breeden, so I didn't have to work my lineup. I literally did the exact same thing, and my pick was on the other side of both of those guys. But yeah, that's just how DraftKings works, right?
Wow.
I did the exact same thing. Yeah.
Wow. So you had lock of the week. You picked against lock of the week, but had him in your DraftKings lineup. That's very interesting.
My Connecticut people. These comments crack me up. People think you and I are similarly sized. I'm not going to pull up the picture of Tiffany and do that whole show again, but like,
I mean, they've seen me shadow box. Man, look at that. I got the hem.
It just makes no sense to me. Jacob is.
I agree.
Okay. All right. Should we?
I got hands.
How about?
I got the reach. If that Tapology kid was on here, he'd be like, yo, I got to go with Jacob in this matchup. He's got the 8-inch reach advantage. I just don't think Angelo is able to close that gap, get him to the ground. I'm going Jacob. 3rd round TKO, Angelo exhaustion, DQ.
Angelo exhaustion is actually, that is a solid. Listen, Jacob has never competed in a combat sport in his entire life. He struggles every day.
I've never lost.
Never won.
I've never lost. So, I mean, that's what's more important. I'm literally undefeated.
The kid had a boil. Andre
Fili's not undefeated. Joe Anderson Burrito's not undefeated.
The kid had a
Jacob Big Nasty Lines is undefeated.
The kid had a boil lanced a week ago, and I've gotten 11 pictures and 500 updates about it. So, not exactly the toughest kid on the block. And where he's from, they don't even have blocks.
I grew up on a cul-de-sac.
It's not a block. It's a cul-de-sac. You think tough kids came out of a cul-de-sac?
It was a tough place to be.
The fact that you even called it a cul-de-sac.
That's what it's called.
No tough
That's
kid
Indiana
has ever
tough.
come.
Me and Darren Elkins both grew up on Indiana cul-de-sacs, and you tell me who's tough.
No tough kid has ever come out of a cul-de-sac. DFS Cake, send me a picture, full body, head to toe, so I can start clowning. I am 6'3", 260. A little heavier than you said, but
stoop kids afraid to leave the stoop. That's you. Do you know what that's from?
Co-main event. I don't know. We have 20 minutes. Let's go.
Hey, Arnold.
Main event of the evening. We have Andre Arlovski taking on Jake Collier. Andre Arlovski, some of you newer fans, right? You see him, he's pretty slick, decent striker. The guy is a former heavyweight champion of the world. In the early to mid 2000s, this guy was like an absolute savage. Andre Arlovski was ripping people's heads off their bodies in 2001, 2002. And here he is continuing to do what he does. Andre Arlovski's 33-20 overall. He's 4-1 in his last 5, and he has become a decision machine. He probably still has that power, but he's one of the very few heavyweights, right? The first thing that goes when you get older is your chin. The last thing that goes is your power. I would argue his chin has gotten, it's held up. There was a period in time where he was getting knocked out, but his chin seems to be good now. But he doesn't, I don't know if he doesn't have power or he's just not throwing with power. But either way, Andrei Arlovski has become a kickboxing, there's no kicks, a boxing decision king. He's using that veteran savvy, using his size, his speed, his athleticism, his cardio. He's just jabbing his way, striking his way to decision wins over everybody like Jake Collier. All of these lower level guys. He did it to, do I have the list of the names here? I don't have the list of the names here, but he did it to Vandera. He did it to
Carlos Felipe, Chase
Sherman,
Tanner Bozer,
and
Philip
Tanner Bozer.
Lins, Ben Rothwell.
And he's just
Stephen
same
Struve.
exact fight over and over and over again. And this fight is exactly that. Jake Collier is a middleweight. He's softened up a bit. He's now at heavyweight. He's actually a decently athletic guy, but the problem is he's a middleweight who's now at heavyweight. He doesn't have that real power. He wasn't powerful at middleweight. He's not powerful at heavyweight. So he would have to out-technique Andrei Arlovski to win this fight. He's not going to be more technical than Andrei Arlovski. He's just not going to. If Andrei Arlovski's veteran savvy will get done whatever needs to get done there. If Jake Collier thinks he's a grappler now because of what he did to Chase Sherman, well, here's the statistic for you. Andrei Arlovski has a 78% takedown defense, and that is over 43 fights, a ridiculously huge sample size against the greatest heavyweights in multiple generations. Andrei Arlovski has a 78% takedown defense. I don't see how Jake Collier wins this fight. And maybe I'm going to look real stupid, and if this was TikTok, this would be a stitch, and I'd be getting, clowned on tomorrow. But Andrei
Arlovski, on all your
Arlovski,
TikTok success and
thank
knowledge.
you so much. Thank you so much. Andrei Arlovski wins another unanimous decision. He just runs circles around Jake Collier. Jakey boy, why do you agree?
Don't agree. And Jake Collier is almost kind of like one of those, sometimes people call me, Jake the Snake. He's kind of like Jake the Snake after the snake just ate like a 600-pound boar. I mean, that's kind of what he is in that situation. I'm Jake the Snake. He is Jake the Snake after a full meal, anaconda type meal. So I'm going with Jake the Snake. Yeah, I got to stick together with my guy Jake. He says he's going to come in for the kill. He's going to knock out Andre. At some point, you're talking about, you keep talking about these older guys, and eventually they got to fall off. Andre is one of those guys. Eventually he's going to lose. I think this is one of those situations. He's talking about he wants to fight for the title again. You got a little bit to go there, Andre. I know your resume is pretty stacked up. You got some wins in a row, but he's probably got like 4 or 5 wins that he needs before he fights for the title. I think he's got a little ahead of himself. I don't think he's ever going to make it there again. I'm going with Jake Collier. Can he get the finish? I don't know. He says he's going to be able to, so I'm going with Jake Collier. I think he's faster.
The reason he might be the reason. So I agree. I don't think Andrei Arlovski is going to be vying for a title anytime soon, and he's just in a perfect spot. Somebody commented what he's making. It's like $650,000 a fight, and these are his opponents. He is on Gerald Meerschaert this week. Said he wanted to be on the Sean O'Malley plan. Andrei Arlovski's on the Sean O'Malley plan. He's fighting much lesser opponents who are, not really going to fight.
Sean isn't getting paid. Sean doesn't want to fight the big guys because he's not getting paid yet.
Yeah. Well, Andrei's getting paid and fighting lesser opponents. So I think everybody would agree that Jake Collier is a lesser fighter than Andrei Arlovski. The age is a factor. When I broke down Darren Elkins, his age concerns me because of the brutality that he puts himself through in every single fight. This is different. Andrei Arlovski is not, even his loss to Tom Aspinall, he was submitted. He wasn't brutalized. So he's actually not as worn out as the 43 years on this planet would have you think.
Imbe's asking for a lock. Do you have a lock this week, Angelo?
I'm very confident in. I have a money line bet on Andrei Arlovski. I have a money line bet on Rob Font. The Rob Font weight miss does concern me, and you guys crack me up.
Let's go straight to it. Let's just go straight to it. Flip to the slide and then start talking about it.
Rob Font missed weight. Everybody knows that. He did not look good missing weight. The one thing that cracks me up with some of the comment section with Rob Font missing weight is people like it was his strategy. Oh, he planned on it. Great. Somebody said, great businessman. Great. Absolutely not. I know people that have missed weight on purpose, right? I've managed people and we literally planned on missing weight. We'll accept it. He'll miss the weight. No big deal. That is not what happened to Rob Font. He looked like shit. He was sucked out, and he is a high integrity guy that wouldn't do that. He just wouldn't do that.
And he stumbled off the scale too. It was kind of a misstep, but it wasn't a good look when you miss weight and then you step off the scale and you're like, whoa. And people were saying that he passed out backstage, which I don't think that's true. But
that's not true. They would never, if he was passed out backstage, he would never be allowed to weigh in ever. That was it. Fights off.
It was afterwards. Well, it was afterwards.
No.
They let what's her name? What's her name passed out twice on the scale, and then
they canceled the fight.
They still let her fight.
But then they canceled the fight.
They did cancel that one, but there was other times where people have literally started passing out and they let him fight. So,
well, yeah, I thought people were saying that was before.
But I don't think he actually did. No, it was after. They said that he weighed in, stumbled off the scale, went back, and his coaches grabbed him because he was about to pass out.
No, there's no way he did. Listen, Rob Font's a high integrity guy. Missing weight's a bad look, and he's a bum for missing weight. Period. End of story. You knew you were going to get into this fight.
Nobody wants to give up 30% of their money.
Well, and everybody's talking first of all, Rob Font is not making retirement money. He needs every penny of this money. He's a main event fighter. We'll see what his purse is going to be, but he's not making enough money to give up 20-30% at the snap of a finger. He's just not.
And he knows he's a better fighter than Cheeto. He's not worried about, I got to put on extra weight because Cheeto might do this. He's the better fighter. I mean, he doesn't have to worry about the weight.
No, I completely agree. Obviously, missing weight was a big miss for him. And that's going to follow him for a while. He did not look good doing it. He did not. And the fact, I talk about this all the time with weight misses. He missed by what, 2 pounds? That's worse. That's worse. I'd rather you miss by 5 because then you're like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm going to stay healthy. I'm going to stay good. I'm done. He missed by 2, and they announced earlier he stopped cutting. So that means he was trying and
it was immediate. Yeah, it was. I think it was 2.5, and he immediately said, "I'm not going to cut anymore."
And Mbaye, there was time to continue cutting, and he didn't
because
he looked like
because he weighed in earlier, and they still give you an extra hour after weigh-ins completed. So he would have had another hour and a half, or 2 hours to cut weight if he wanted to, but he chose not to.
Here's the breakdown, guys. I think Rob Font. So I do think the weight miss is a factor. I would not be nearly as confident in Rob Font, or I am not as confident in Rob Font as I was yesterday. I do think Rob Font is the better fighter. I think he's a much better fighter. The Cheeto Vera fans, I have not seen a reasonable one yet. Not one. You guys are all, he's going to dominate. He's the best. He's on his way to a title shot. Cheeto Vera's the greatest thing in the world. I have not seen a single person be like, listen, Rob Font's a really good fighter, but Cheeto's tough. I think Cheeto might have success if he does this. No, you guys are 100% convinced Cheeto Vera is the greatest fighter in the world. It feels very similar to the Joel Alvarez conversation, where you guys were just absolutely drooling over Joel Alvarez, and he went out there and he was basically murdered. I don't think this is that, because that was, Sarukian's a whole different animal than Rob Font. Rob Font is a very good technical striker with ridiculously fast hands and good footwork. You guys want to call him chinny because Jose Aldo lit him up a little bit, but Jose Aldo didn't put him out. He didn't put him out. And Jose Aldo hits harder, kicks harder than Marlon Vera. And what happened when Rob Font fought Jose Aldo? He landed 100 more strikes than Jose Aldo did in that fight. 100 more. And he got a takedown. I think Rob Font wins this fight. I think Marlon Vera is really tough. I think he's a really fun guy, and I'm happy for him that he's getting this opportunity and that he's building a fan base like this, because without the rabid, unreasonable fans, he would just fall to the wayside of a mid-level fighter that nobody ever remembered. So I'm happy he's got rabid fans. I'm happy you guys are all over him, but Rob Font's the better fighter, period. I just don't. What is Cheeto better at? He's got more power in his kicks. Okay. Then what? He doesn't have better takedowns. Probably not the better grappler. Definitely doesn't have cleaner boxing. He's not faster. So I like Rob Font to win. And the analogy I made the other day, and let's assume the weight cut is not a factor, right? Let's assume he's got all the energy he needs. The comparison I made is I think this is going to look like Max Holloway versus Calvin Kattar, except Rob Font's going to be Max Holloway here. He's just going to light up Cheeto Vera's face, and Cheeto's going to be a step behind the whole time. What do you think, Jake alludes?
Yeah, Cheeto, I'm a I'm a Cheeto hater. Okay, I for
I'm not.
whatever reason, I'm a Cheeto hater, so I am a little bit biased because he was going to lose versus Sugar Sean. He lost versus Song Yadong. He was going to lose to Frankie Edgar. He got beat by Jose Aldo.
And real quick, sorry, I'll let you. People think I'm a Cheeto hater. I picked Cheeto to beat Sean O'Malley. So I think Cheeto's very good, and I picked him to beat Sean O'Malley. Obviously, that win was kind of trash, but I don't always pick against Cheeto Vera, just this matchup. Sorry, go ahead.
Cheeto Vera is a bum. He's tough. He's not tougher than Rob Font. His only paths to victory in this fight are the leg kicks. He does have very good leg kicks, and hats off to him. He did land the perfect one versus Sean O'Malley, but he was going to get outstruck in that matchup and probably finish. That was probably the first time he's ever finished. The leg kicks might become an issue because Rob Font, he is that boxing style type of guy, but he does have good takedowns. So it's two ways that he wins. It's either with the leg kicks, with success there, which could happen over 5 rounds if he really lays into those over and over and over. Anything can happen. We've seen fights get finished with leg kicks, or a Hail Mary submission. He's good off his back, and he's good with the guillotine. And if Rob Font comes in sloppy with his takedowns, that's why I think Rob Font, my strategy for Rob Font is just jab, 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 until there's like 30 seconds to go in every round. At 30 seconds to go, you go all in on a takedown. Shoot a blast double, get a single, something to where if you find yourself into trouble, you can survive until the end of the round. Because Marlon is, is kind of slick with that jiu-jitsu. He's got those long limbs. He's got those skinny arms. He can slip underneath your neck. So Hail Mary submission on a shot attempt by Rob Font, that could be a path to victory. Leg kicks could be a path to victory. But Rob Font is the much better fighter. The weight cut does worry me, so I'm not like all in on Rob Font that I was, but Cheeto Vera is a journeyman. He should have lost like 4 of his last 5 fights. He's talking about getting title shots. You got a little bit ways to go from that. So I'm a Cheeto hater. That's fine. I'll accept that. Rob Font wins this.
I'm definitely not a Cheeto hater. I think he's very good. And here's the unreasonable people in the comments. See? Here we go. You guys are bums. That's clever stuff. That is clever stuff right there. That's clever stuff right there.
I'll fight Angelo, and then when I finish him, I'll fight you in the next round, and I'll finish you too.
Nah, people, listen,
no problem.
I get it. You have your favorite fighter, but you guys didn't give a shit about Cheeto Vera 2 years ago. Now all of a sudden you're diehard. Watch a fight before you talk about them. Okay, Louis. Here's the reality, guys. There are levels to this sport. Cheeto Vera is very good, but there's levels. Rob Font's hands are so good, Cheeto's not going to be able to keep up, and that's just how it is. There was another comment I was going to pin up here. Just a bunch of idiots. Let's see.
Let's see who the
jackass. I mean, we're growing like crazy. We're growing like crazy. And, I think the average American's an idiot. So the reality is.
Oh, I got a comment. Can I pin? There's a Jonathan Lindsay. What can you pin that? It's too small. I can't see it. Can you put it on the big screen so I can read that? Jonathan Lindsay says, Jacob,
can you stand up? Can you stand up and go to the doorway for us so we can see how tall you actually are?
I hit my head. I can't do that. Concussion protocol.
I bet you would. Anyway, guys, I'm looking forward to first of all, that's the beauty of this. We get to scream at each other, argue, and completely disagree. And this, more so than any other sport, you pretty much get definitive outcomes. And I'm looking forward to it. Frankly, I hope I'm wrong, because if Rob Font wins, I mentioned there's levels to this, right? And Rob Font is not championship level. And I don't like when there's a gatekeeper just beating all the talent, right? That's not good for the division. So if Cheeto Vera wins, that's actually better for the division, because now we're talking about a title fight, and we are talking about that stuff where, frankly, I don't see that happening here, but.
No, go ahead. Keep going on your Cheeto rant, please. I like it.
Okay. Well, I like.
No, I think Cheeto. I think Cheeto. Yeah, I think he's gonna get. I think he's gonna get finished for the first time in his career. Cheeto. I think he's getting knocked out.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think Rob Font was. I think he was sandbagging the way the face-offs. People say he didn't look good at face-off. Rob Font at face-offs was looking at Cheeto. He was looking down. He was looking up. He was like, "All right, we about to." I mean, you asked for this. You asked for this, Cheeto. But I'm a little disappointed now because we were supposed to go into the live stream for Lock of the Week Fight Live, and now my heart hurts because Carlos, man, was just.
Yeah, we were gonna stick for the first fight so we could watch Jacob's just for the fact. Do I need to pull up the picture of you standing next to Tiffany just to bring you back down to reality?
I'm talking about Carlos. I'm not even talking about you.
I know, but like,
why are you getting so defensive?
Because when you start doing that stuff, it grinds my gears. Anyway, guys,
I'll 12-6 elbow you too. I don't give a shit. I'll take that DQ.
It's okay. I'm gonna head to DQ. Honestly, it's hot out. That sounds fantastic. Anyway, guys, thank you.
It does sound fantastic.
Thank you guys so much for hanging out. The fights are about to start any minute. Thank you all so much, even the idiots I argue with. I love you all. It's all in good fun. Keep the arguments going. We have a free Discord. The Discord costs nothing. We don't charge you for anything. Go to the Discord channel. It is completely free. Argue there. I'll yuck it up with you Muppets over there. No big deal.
Follow me on Twitter and argue me. JT_lines. I'll do live bets too. Because that Carlos fight dropped, I got some more money to play with. I'm going to do some live bets for this fight. So follow me, JT_lines on Twitter.
Choke on your ice cream. If you could choke on ice cream, what a pathetic way to die. Like, it'll just melt before you suffer.
That's what they say. The best thing to choke on is an ice cube, because eventually it'll just...
Anyway, unless that's shirtless 12-year-old Bert. I'm not sure.
Anyway, lifesavers are called lifesavers because there's a hole in the middle of them, because they save your life if you start choking on them.
Okay. That's not why they're called that. No, that's not why they're called
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are.
They're named after the actual the flotation device that's called a lifesaver.
I know, but they get caught in your throat, you breathe through them. They're lifesavers.
You're a moron. Anyway, thank you so much for hanging out. 50 free bucks. WeWantPicks.com/bets. Sign up. We give you $50. That's it. That simple. Literally that easy. I will be dropping.
Look at the speed.
UFC,
Are you seeing this?
UFC 274 quick picks tonight. Tonight, right after the fights, UFC 274 quick picks will be live, and Jacob and I are going to do our live UFC 274 breakdown Monday night instead of Tuesday because I have to travel for work. You guys don't sign up for enough of our affiliate stuff for this to pay my bills, so I still have a real job. See you guys Monday night for our live.